TPN The Walk on the Props Network. I am Joel Walkowski coming to you live on stream via the Bushwick Betting Bunker. Sammy, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Just don't hear my own mic. Getting used to this setup. We usually have people in studio, but on Friday with the props on, I get Steve Clark on Zoom in the room, and then we go over our favorite prop bets for the weekend. Another Friday morning struggle for me. I spent 2 weeks studying for my statistics exam. I got a 66. Thankfully, I'm dumb enough not to realize how bad of a score that is. But, we're going to have a fun football weekend, and let's bring him on. He's the biggest Survivor buff not worn at Tribal Council. Say hello to Steve Clark. I can't hear Steve.
Oh,
hear Steve.
Can you hear me now?
I get good. Yeah.
Remember those commercials?
Those are great. You could pull that off as a Halloween costume. All you need is a pair of glasses. You can do that so easily.
All right, fine, I'll do it. Are you dressing up for Halloween this year? It's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm going to be Bane, and it's going to be awesome. As a big, bald, muscular guy, when face masks are required, it's not really a choice for me. I got to be Bane, and I'm just going to stay as Bane. It's enough's going on with the world that I might need to just transition.
That's a good idea.
Did you like my intro for you?
Yeah, man. Survivor posted a thing on Instagram the other day with a picture of Jeff's face, and it said, "This is CBS." What does that mean?
It means they've not got a lot going on. I had Jeff Pearlman, the Sports Illustrated writer, on the walk on Monday.
Nice.
And we talked about what it was like to see his writing recounted on an episode of Survivor.
Yeah, that's so interesting.
Yeah, because he's just like, I wrote this thing 10 years ago. And now, like a decade later, they're talking about it on the most highest rated show in the country.
Yeah. And everyone generally seemed like they had read it. There were like a lot of people who had read it, which is a nice compliment for him.
Yeah, that might be the last huge Sports Illustrated article. It was that or the steroids and baseball thing. They were like the last two, and then it's just like, I don't mean to bad talk SI. I love Sports Illustrated. So
me too, man.
Journalism just changes. We're all in that world, and that's why we're here over Zoom today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that Bears-Bucks game last night. We were talking about it a little bit before we went on the air, so I felt like we'd have our conversation now.
Dude, it was brutal. I had Bucks -3.5, like a chump. I always bet against the Bears, and I think they're like 4-1 against the spread or something. They're ridiculous. Like, they're the worst good team of all time.
It's the most Chicago Bears team of all time. You can just feel Roger Goodell propping them up. And I think that is kind of good for us, though. That first game between Green Bay and Chicago should be the gambling opportunity of the year.
Oh, yeah. You think people overvalue Chicago and make the line close?
Well, I mean, if the records are similar, like you can't make it more than like a 4.5 point game. And Chicago,
pound Green Bay. Yeah, I mean, I would take Green Bay in that matchup up to like -8, I feel like.
Yeah, Chicago is also a public team. Not all the time like a Steelers or a Cowboys, but when they win, the Bears fans come out of the woodwork.
It's, you know what? At least it's the Bears, and it's not some organization that has had a very racist past,
Yeah, at least it's a team that has never had a black starting quarterback. They let Cordell Stewart start a couple games because of injury, but that's it.
Yeah.
Are you a lineman nerd?
Lineman nerd? I wouldn't call myself a lineman nerd.
I've been trying to pay more attention to interior linemen this year. And through the first 4 weeks of the season, Tristan Wirfs was the best.
He looks great. Yeah.
Until yesterday, couldn't have a worse fall from earth. He was getting thrown around every time I looked up.
I don't know. Yeah, him versus Khalil Mack is not a matchup you wanna see for a rookie in his 5th game. He like that Khalil Mack, his first sack. He proceeded after the sack to throw Tristan Wirfs on his back, just like body slammed him.
Yeah, I think Wirfs got body slammed like 3 times yesterday. They were moving him around to different positions. Rough day for the Iowa Hawkeye, and I'm glad I got into the Twitter threads enough to be disappointed by it. But
yeah, poor Bucks.
Poor Bucks. They're still going to go 13-3. They'll be just fine, and the Bears, they're going to go have a great record and not be a viable threat whatsoever. You love to see it. Like, I would normally be annoyed, but I'm just so amused by this team.
I mean, they're one of the few bets I made before the season for win total. I took them under 8 wins, and they already have 4 through 5 weeks. So that bet might be dead.
It might be, but I could still see that very much hitting. Like, seeing the offense they run, like, they truly don't run anything with it underneath whatsoever. They don't run routes. They either hand off to Montgomery or just throw it 30 yards down the field.
Yeah, they just throw a jump ball to Allen Robinson, and that's it. I just looked this up because I was interested. Their average yards per play is 5, which makes them the 6th worst team in the NFL. And they're 4-1.
4-1. They should. I think they could probably be 1-4 just as easily.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're 4-1, and they're like plus minus is they're +5. Their point differential is +5.
Yeah, and like Indianapolis, like, oh my gosh, what a defense. Like, they couldn't do anything against them last week.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Colts team. Although they do have some injuries on defense this week, so it'll be interesting to see how they hold up.
Yeah, but they are so deep. It feels like they've had a big injury report every week of the season, and just people step up because Reich might just be a really great football coach.
Reich's a good coach, yeah.
All right, should we get into it?
Let's do it.
All right, Sam over there at the John Wilkes, he says that there's a theme for this week, so we're going to try and uncover this theme to our picks as we go. Do you want to kick off?
Heck yeah. All right, we're starting with this Raiders-Chiefs game.
Ooh.
I'm going to take Derek Carr, 250-plus passing yards, -106. I think anyone playing the Chiefs is going to be chasing points. And the Raiders' offense, honestly, hasn't looked awful through the first 4 games of the season. And in Carr's last 3 games, he's thrown 284, 261, and 311 yards. He's throwing for a good amount of yards. And this week, they're getting Henry Ruggs back. He practiced yesterday. So you got to be excited about Derek Carr. I mean, 250-plus at near even odds is not that high of a number for a team that's going to be trailing.
Yeah, and they're going to be trailing that entire game. And like, to your point, the Ruggs coming back is huge. He's maybe the most talented receiver in this class. And like, even though the production isn't there yet, he has shown enough to me. It's like, oh, this guy's going to be a player. So yeah, give the Chiefs a little bit of your own Tyreek Hill. I think he'll have one 40-yard bomb in him. So if he just hits that one deep pass, 200 yards in the flow of the game is absolutely nothing. And
oh yeah, he'll get 100 yards in garbage time.
Yeah, my only worry, and it's not even a real worry, is that like they're kind of set up to be the dollar store version of the Chiefs offense. Waller and Ruggs are just a discount version of Kelsey and Tyreek. So
yeah,
maybe they have so many practice reps against those types of players. That's my only concern.
Oh, interesting. I just can't imagine. I mean, the Chiefs will, even if they dominate the first half on defense, they'll back off in the second half and just play prevent. And then, I don't know. I feel like this one is so simple, which means it won't hit.
Yeah, it's too easy. I agree with you, but dissent leads to discourse, and you had a point to follow up with. So yeah, we're all good. Okay, my first one, I like Teddy Bridgewater under 296.5 passing yards. He would have hit that 3 out of the 4 weeks this season. And I think the Panthers have kind of fallen into a really nice, really balanced team.
Mhm.
So without them being like a skew to a pass-heavy offense, I know they're against Atlanta, but I still don't think they're going to deviate from their game plan. Like, they're a little conservative. There's a lot of underneath stuff, and they've got like another good running back into the fold. So, yeah, I don't think Bridgewater's really asked to do that much in the offense. And that number, it's boosted by it being Atlanta, but that's very high.
It is a high number. I looked at that. I was looking at Teddy Bridgewater's number as well, and I thought that's a little too high for me. But yeah, the fact that it's against Atlanta makes it possible, certainly. But it is a little too high for me to bet. I probably wouldn't bet it either way because I think he could obviously do it, but it's such a high number. What are the odds on that?
That's a -115.
Okay.
So not crazy juice on there. It's just, that's off the hypothesis that this is a balanced offense, and I don't think you're going to see any outrageous stat lines from Bridgewater this season, even though the Panthers have been an incredible team to watch. Like, they had more turnover than any other roster, and the fact that they're competent is a pretty remarkable achievement to me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're a fun team, and their offense has been clicking. Their defense hasn't been as bad as people thought they would be. So it's a fun team.
And their defense has been incredible. Like, their last 2 first-round picks, Derek Brown and Brian Burns, have just like created this defensive line that's just the foundation of a really good team. And like, I've been on the wrong side of them on a lot of my bets, a lot of my picks this year. And like, that's how you learn about a team. Like,
Yeah.
They are competent and they are very good at what they do. And they're probably the feel-good story of the year to me.
Yeah. I teased them up against the Falcons. I have them +8.5.
Oh, beautiful.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. Because I took the Cardinals against them last week. Mistake. Yeah,
mistake. That was I loved that pick. And then again, I thought it is kind of like the Lions defense did good against the Cardinals because they're one of the few defenses that's arranged from the secondary first. And like, I thought Kyler would be able to take advantage of like having a great defensive line to really create some things in the chaos. And that was not the case. They were they were in complete control the entire game. And let's pour a little out for that Jets-Cardinals game. The betting opportunity of the week may be taken off the board.
Oh, yeah. Somebody has a test that's like not positive, not negative. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, the Jets have a positive test, and the Jets players are just playing Ferris Bueller, faking it to get out of the season. Like, they stopped wanting to go in September 1st.
Yeah, I was able to snag that Cardinals-Jets game at -6. I was like, why would any team be less than 10-point favorites against the Jets right now?
Yeah, especially a team that we've seen be competent already this season,
right?
Coming off a couple bad hiccups.
Yeah, like this is the perfect bounce back opportunity for Arizona. Man, I hope that game gets played.
Yeah, if just for my wallet's sake, I hope that game gets played.
I actually have a prop in that Carolina game as well.
All right, let's hear it.
PointsBet has options for you to bet on players' fantasy points. So I took Robby Anderson over 15.5 fantasy points.
That's great call.
It's PPR, so already 7 easy points. He's averaged 7 catches per game on 8.5 targets per game this season. And then it just comes down to defense being bad. They've allowed 34 points per game, 341 passing yards per game. We already talked about Teddy's number being set at 296.5 passing yards. If he comes even close to that, you got to figure Robby Anderson's probably securing a quarter of those yards. So yeah, if he gets in the end zone, it's an easy one. If he doesn't get in the end zone, I still think he can get 7 catches for 85 yards, and that's 15.5. So yeah, it's kind of cool that you can bet on fantasy points.
It is really cool, and I like the pick very much. Robby Anderson, he played his entire career with the Jets, and he was kind of a punchline over here, and it's nice to see him get his really a shot at relevancy in Carolina and making the most of it. Like, he stole that number one receiver job from DJ Moore, who's a very good receiver. So
Yeah.
he might have like Pro Bowl level abilities that are finally getting used.
He's so good. He's so skinny, though.
He's very skinny.
He's too skinny.
Yeah. I feel the same way. We got to bulk up. So this next pick, it goes to the tumult. We don't know what's going to happen in this game, except we know it's going to be a blowout. Antonio Gibson, under 51.5 rushing yards. Washington is trotting out Kyle Allen, a new quarterback. It's going to be tough to predict their offense, and it's already a kind of running back by committee there.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see anyone getting the lion's share of the carries. I think they don't know this offense, so they're going to try a lot of different looks. So I don't think any running back is going to be featured in there, and the Rams should have an offensive display coming off a rough week against the Giants.
The one thing I'll say is that the Rams' rushing defense is dreadful. It is so bad. He could get 51.5 yards in one play against the Rams.
Okay.
He probably only needs 10 carries to hit that number. But, if things go the way they should go, unlike last week, if the Rams jump out to a 17-point lead in the first quarter, then yeah, I think that's a really good pick. But, my God, the Rams looked terrible last week. They looked so bad.
Yeah, but you sure that wasn't a Milton Berle game? Just pulling out enough to win. They can get through these without exposing any of their offensive schemes.
Could have been. I think they definitely didn't take the game seriously. They probably didn't prepare to the level that they prepare for other teams. I think Sean McVay kind of took a week off because his play calling was like the least creative I've ever seen it. But yeah, hopefully that was kind of a kick in the butt for them to be like, all right, let's blow the football team out. So yeah, it's not a bad pick, but with the Rams running defense, I could seriously see him getting that in one play.
Okay, so maybe I'm taking it off the board. You here, and like I watched all of that Rams Giants game, but I was just like, Aaron Donald, they must have a good running defense. My bad.
Our linebackers are trash. If you get past that first level, you're going to break off a 20-yard run.
I feel like every team in the NFL has bad linebackers right now.
What's the deal?
I think like if you can play defense, if you can either become an edge or you could become like
edge. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes the other way too because there's all those like Swiss Army knife like safeties right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's hard to be like a prototypical inside linebacker because if you have the size, you want to do the sexy position of being a pass rusher. You don't want to be the run stuffer guy. I think that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
in defensive tackles, linebackers, it's like big men in the NBA 3 years ago. It's got to cycle back around. We're going to have the right guys come to the league and fix it.
Okay, I'm taking a running back with my next prop bet. Taking James Robinson, 75-plus rushing yards at minus 112.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing against Houston, who has the worst rushing defense in the NFL. I think they give up like 180 rush yards per game. It's kind of insane. Teams just shove it down their throat. They don't even throw against them. He's gotten 16 or more carries in 3 of the Jaguars' first 4 games. He's a big surprise this year. I don't think anyone expected him to kind of bust on the scene like this, and he's really good. And again, Houston has one of the better pass defenses. I don't know if they're necessarily a good pass defense or if teams just don't pass against them because they don't have to. But I could see Jacksonville running the ball 25, 30 times and James getting 20 of those carries. And yeah, 75 yards, not that many for a starting running back against a bad defense.
And that's a very high line. And I am kind of reticent about it because I think this is a Houston blowout. When a team that hates their coach fires their coach by rule, I'm bullish on them the next week. I think I'll be on the Texans money line. I know I'll be on the Texans spread. So yeah, I could see Houston just having a bounce in their step. Jacksonville, if you take that win against Indianapolis from week 1, where it was incredibly humid and Indianapolis wilted over the game, they look like a different team. So on that same measure, I'm going to pick it from that game.
Ooh.
I like DJ Chark over 56.5 receiving yards, -110. Minshew loves him. We saw him be this entire offense is different there, and no matter how this game plays out, I see him getting that mark. But if I consider them to be probably playing from behind, I am very confident in that.
That's a great one. I think that one definitely goes over.
Yeah.
And Minshew loves, they're letting Minshew throw the ball 40 times a game. They're just like, here you go, like make a play.
And he's obviously the number 1 receiver there. So it just feels like a gift to me. 56.5 is nothing for a number 1 receiver against a bad defense.
Yeah. It all comes down to what the game script's going to be. If for you're hoping Jaguars go down by 20. I'm hoping it's a close game. But here, I actually did research on how teams do after they fire their coach.
Oh, I'd love to hear it. Thank you how did you know?
Well, I write a blog for the Props Network every week, and I wanted to see which way I should lean. So in the week after firing coaches since 2003, there's been 25 coaches fired. Those teams have gone 10-15 straight up. That's not surprising because the teams are probably bad if they're firing their coach. And they're 13-12 against the spread.
Okay, so not the avalanche of success I was anticipating.
No, but this is maybe the only time that a team has been favored by a touchdown after firing their head coach.
Yeah, and I just feel like it's kind of skewed because you read the stories coming out of the Texans locker room. I think they hated Bill O'Brien that much that they just couldn't going to work.
Well, you saw that J.J. Watt just yelled at him during practice one day in front of everyone.
Yeah, questioned his coaching, questioned his manhood, and if that's just out of the room, I think you're going to see them kind of return to form this week. I know there's no Hopkins. I know it's been fun to pile them on, but Deshaun Watson is still one of those quarterbacks who can just dominate a game.
He's great.
And we haven't seen that yet this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you located in a state with legal online sports betting? Do not place a bet this season before you visit thepropsnetwork.com. ThePropsNetwork.com has you covered with free bets and special bonus deals from all the top U.S. online sports books. Get $30 in free bets and a $600 risk-free bet at Unibet. Claim up to a $1,000 signing bonus bundle from DraftKings Sportsbook, or try PointsBet Sportsbook with 4 risk-free bets totaling up to $1,000 using promo code BONUSPROPS. The Props Network is also the only betting news site with live NFL odds for every game. And, you check out Steve's blog every week. He's betting every game, so you can take his pick, look at the live odds, and see where you want to put your money down. This allows you to shop your comps and know you're getting the biggest payout possible before you lock in your bet. Do your favorite bankroll and check out thepropsnetwork.com. You ready for it, Sam? Must be 21 or older to bet online. Do you or someone you know have a gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER today.
And can I do my favor a bankroll?
Do your bankroll a favor. Did I mess that up?
We could do favors for our bankrolls.
Yeah, we could do favors for our bankrolls. Maybe a little GameStop stock. Rumors of an acquisition.
Ooh.
Hey, did you buy that stock I told you to buy Wednesday?
No, what was that again?
ENRT. It was up 50% yesterday.
Whoa.
I told you.
I missed.
Wow.
I missed.
Yeah, long-term lithium. It's we could get into that another time. Steve and I, we talk about lithium futures on the Saturday podcast. It's called Mining with Miners. Check it out. We need a new title.
Is it your turn?
No, your turn. It's not like a second half thing where I start off the second half. You stay in the lead.
All right, ready for this?
Yeah.
I've got Kyler Murray under 240.5 passing yards at -104. That hopefully this game happens.
Hopefully this game happens. We want this game to happen so bad.
Because I really do think the Cardinals jump out to a lead here, and then Kyler doesn't really have to throw the ball that much. I think this is the game they want to get Kenyon Drake going because he hasn't really done anything all year. I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to give him the ball 20 times and see what he can do. Also, Kyler is a kind of a dink and dunk quarterback. He's 27th in yards per attempt this year. And the Jets defense against the pass is surprisingly not terrible. Again, I think that might be due to the fact that they're always down by 20 points and teams just run against them. But yeah, that's what I would kind of expect the Cardinals to do too. So that's why I think it's 240 yards. I don't think he needs to throw that many yards.
Yeah, I like the pick there. I think it's so funny that the metrics give the Jets a good secondary. Like, they got to be in the DB room like, yeah, we're doing it. Number 6 ranked pass defense. Here we go. It's like, nah, people don't pass in the second half against you, dog. And yeah, he's going to be off the field very easily. I mean, just from like a health point of view, him playing on that field, concerns, like I would have the most conservative game plan possible around Kyler Murray if I were Cliff Kingsbury.
Yep. Once they're up by 3 scores, just yank them.
Yank them. I'm sure the game will be played at like 3 p.m. on Tuesday, like game. So yeah, I look forward to tuning in at Wednesday at 11 a.m. for the Cardinals.
Yeah, we're getting a Monday 5 o'clock game this week.
What? That's insane. And that's the Patriots Broncos?
Yeah.
Wow. But if I were a diehard Patriot fan, coming home from work is like, you can't watch your team two weeks in a row. That's brutal.
It is brutal.
Okay, so back to the picks. I like Darren Waller to get 75 yards receiving, -112. I think they're just along the lines to your Carr pick. I think that they're going to be playing from behind. I think he is the number 1 option in that offense. And 75 yards seems reasonable for one of the elite tight ends in a game where they desperately need to move the ball.
Yeah, and we saw Waller have a rough game against the Patriots. I think that was entirely due to the fact that Bill Belichick is like a genius defensive mind. Andy Reid, a very good coach, but I don't think he'll be able to shut down a weapon like Darren Waller for a full game like the Patriots were. And yeah, this is exactly. I think Ruggs has a good game. I think Waller has a good game just because they need to throw the ball in the second half.
Am I crazy for liking the Raiders against the spread here, getting between 11 and 12?
I took them at +14. I bought a point. So yeah.
Because like the Raiders, I mean, they're not the Chiefs, but they are a competent team. And generally, like, I like to, if I see a big spread in a divisional game, just taking the underdog is always good practice.
Yep. And the backdoor cover for a 2-score, for 14 points or 13 points, whatever you get it at, the backdoor cover is always going to be wide open.
And it's nice with these big spreads because if your team scores first, you're on cruise control the rest of the game. Like, having a big underdog and them being up 7-0 is such a relaxing.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like a genius. It's true.
Yeah. I know there was some talk. I listen to a lot of like sports gambling podcasts. A lot of these people are thinking they're just going to take Bengals money line against the Ravens.
What?
Because you can get it at like +750.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you can, but I also think Joe Burrow is going to get assassinated on that field. Like,
hey, all I'm saying is you heard it here first. When the Bengals win, you're going to wish, it's just like lithium, you're going to wish you would have put $10 on it.
You heard it here first. When we did say we heard it from another podcast.
From an undisclosed source.
All right, next, you have the floor.
All right, I am taking Another under here. I don't like betting unders, but I found good spots for him. Baker Mayfield under 249.5 passing yards.
Yes.
It's against the Colts, and the Colts' pass defense has proven to be incredible. Baker's only averaging 182 passing yards per game this year. The Browns scored 49 points last week, and he only threw for 165 yards. That just shows you like where the offense is. It's clearly not him throwing it a ton of times. I know Nick Chubb is out, which sucks. But Kareem Hunt is like a very capable starting running back. And they have other good running backs on the roster, like Dearness Johnson coming out and running for like 7 yards a clip last week. Also great name, Dearness Johnson.
Ernest, it's not enough for me. Tremont sprinkled on the top. I like that. I do worry because Nick Chubb is so good in the passing game. Like if they use him in a Kamara-esque fashion, and he is someone when he practices as a wide receiver as often as he practices as a running back. So I can see them really kind of finding a good game plan. And like, this is an impossible game to really forecast. Like, I desperately, it's just like the head and the heart are so opposed. I want the Browns to win. Usually a team like Indianapolis with a dominant defense takes care of business in this game.
Right.
And on that measure, I like Phil Rivers over 230.5 passing yards, minus 115. I think that's a skewed number. I think they're going to be able to move the ball consistently with underneath routes, and they'll have a kind of conservative passing game. Like that's just based on the line more than Rivers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we saw what happened to the Browns defense last week. They got torched. Their secondary hasn't looked great. So yeah, I could see 230 is a pretty low number.
Yeah, pretty low number. And like, I think it will be a pretty tight game. And like, if a quarterback in the modern NFL is in like a standard game, that kind of leads to like 250 to 270 passing yards as the mean. So I just think there's value in that number.
Yeah, it does. This does kind of feel like a game where both teams run the ball 40 times and it's over in 2 hours.
It absolutely could be, but like I could also see it being like a weird shootout, like a 24-27 game that turns into the best thing to do at 4:30 on Sunday.
It's going to be a good game for sure. I'm excited to just like this is the first real test the Colts have had on defense, so I'm excited to see if they're for real.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the winner of this game we have to take seriously as a dark horse contender in the AFC. Like, I know the Chiefs and the Ravens are, and even the traditional powers like the Steelers and Pats are all very good teams, but I'm loving this like second class of AFC teams. The Bills, the Browns, the Colts, right in that mix. I think the Colts do have a chance to really morph into a very tough out this January.
Yeah, well, they're going to have a good seed because they play the AFC South 6 times. And they might just get 2 free wins against the Titans because the Titans may never play another NFL game this year. I think they had negative tests today for the first time in like 13 days. So hopefully it's looking up.
Yeah, I just want them to get that forfeit. Unprecedented in NFL history. We do have a viewer writing in, Brittany Zamora, sounds like a real babe. She wants to know the over for 238.5 for Wentz versus the Steelers. What would you take there?
I would say under. I think, well, this is just based on the fact that Wentz, is this a Philadelphia fan?
Yeah, if
don't let your homer
and they would ask over for fucking Wentz versus the Steelers, they hate that guy.
Why else would you want to bet on Wentz to do anything, though, is the question, if you're not from Philadelphia. The Steelers are one of the best defenses in the NFL. Go Birds. Okay, yeah, she's from Philadelphia. I would take the under here. If you feel so inclined to bet on Carson Wentz, it's a pretty low number, so you can feel kind of good about that. I do think the Steelers will probably jump out to an early lead, so we'll have to throw the ball. But who's he going to throw to?
Nobody. And on these lines, I have my next pick. This one, I don't feel it's probably the one I feel the least confident in, but I think it'll be fun. I like Miles Sanders in head-to-head rushing yards versus James Conner plus 120.
Miles Sanders head-to-head against Connor. Okay.
Yeah, like the Eagles, they need a lot of production out of Sanders. They need to introduce him and play his role in the offense. And going against a tough Steelers defense with no receivers, really, you're going to want to ride your blue chip player. I think that's Miles Sanders. And on the other side of the coin, we could well look at a Steelers blowout. Also, James Conner's been more of a platoon than we would have expected before the season. So I do think there's good value here, and I don't quite know how to attack the spread on this game. I think I will be on I'll buy a half point on the Eagles and, just hold my breath. But
yeah, it's going to be I think it'll be a close game, despite the fact that the Steelers are a better team, just because the Eagles play games tight that they shouldn't be playing tight.
And I think the Eagles, they're a team like the Vikings, where I think they're going to get better over the course of the season. They're introducing a lot of new pieces. They're behind the 8 ball from a injury point of view. So I think they're not the team we saw to open the season. And as they get their players back, they'll do a little better.
Yeah. I had a stat on NFC East against the spread last week in my blog. I don't remember it, but it's they're 2-13-1 or something crazy like that. They are so bad against the spread. So if you want to fade the NFC East,
fade the NFC.
Not a bad idea.
And in this game, it's the player props are tough because Roethlisberger over 274.5 passing yards. I think that's a good line.
Yeah.
Anything else? The lines for running backs are, again, I still like the Carson Wentz over rushing yards. It's 14.5 when the dude is just, his guys aren't getting open. He's creating I
like that one.
And last week I said he was a lock. He got 4 times what the line was for rushing yards. So again, that's something he can get in a single carry.
He's running for his life. Yeah.
Yeah, every week, let's find the running back line where they can break it with a single carry. What do you think the line is for the most receiving yards on the Eagles?
What player is it?
Yeah.
It's got to be Greg Ward, right? Or is it Zach Ertz?
It's Zach Ertz. The number is kind of astoundingly low.
I'll say 45.5.
You nailed it exactly.
Did I really?
Yeah, you nailed it exactly. 45. Did you cheat?
I did not cheat.
Okay.
I didn't even look at that game.
Yeah, 45.5. Wow. That you win this week no matter what, just for that.
So if I were to, I can't bet that then, because I think he will hit exactly the number they set for him.
Yeah, and just in this game, Juju to get 100 receiving yards is plus 325. That's tremendous value.
That is good value.
I feel like Juju is kind of a big game player, and this will be such a big game in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Oh, it's a must win for the Eagles too, even though they're in first place.
Yeah, the Eagles are good. I love seeing Washington going all in to win the division this year, and the Cowboys got a horrific injury news this year. Left tackle Tyron Smith out for the season.
Yeah.
They have so many neck injuries in Dallas. It defies all logic.
It is crazy. I actually have a Cowboys bet for my next bet.
Let's hear it.
I'm taking Dak Prescott to score 3 or more touchdowns at plus 120.
Okay.
His last 3 games, he scored 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and 4 touchdowns. It's helped a lot because he can run the ball. I think in one of those games, he had 3 rushing touchdowns. So in an offense like this, you got to expect they're going to score a lot of points. Who do they play this week? They played the Giants. So that's the one concern, is that if they jump out to a huge lead against the Giants, they just give it to Zeke over and over again. But they have so many weapons on offense. 3 touchdowns is just like the norm for Dak this year, I feel like. And he can do it with his legs. He can do it with his arm. And pretty good odds. Plus 120. You're not laying anything, so...
Yeah, my only worry there is with, again, the left tackle injury, that can really screw with a team and put them in a really hard position offensively. And especially he got injured in practice late in the week, so they're not going to have much time to integrate the replacement.
It is true. I would be concerned about that if they played anyone except the New York Giants.
Yeah, I'm still with you on that. I agree with the pick, but, you know, I do have concerns over that injury, and I think they'll be able to muster against the Giants. Like, the Giants went all in last week to lose by 8 against the Rams, so that was their Super Bowl. I love this pick. I think this is the most I've liked to pick this whole season.
Ooh.
So all week out of San Francisco, we're hearing we got our guys back. We're going to be the Niners of old. And you know, a big part of that Niners identity last year was Deebo Samuel. He's been hurt to start the year, and him to get 50 receiving yards minus 134. I think he's integral to that offense. I think 50 yards is extremely reasonable in that matchup. And with Garoppolo back, I think he's going to want to emphasize it. They want to reintroduce aspects of the offense from last year. So I expect Deebo to be featured.
I like that pick. With Jimmy G back, it really makes that offense a good offense, I think. Like, even last week, George Kittle had 15 catches.
Crazy.
So, if they have healthy people, they're going to get catches. So, yeah, Deebo, 50 yards seems extremely doable with Jimmy G. And the Dolphins' defense has not been good.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, they do have like a player to kind of sell out and do a good job on George Kittle. Like, we talk about crappy linebackers, and crappy linebacker Kyle Van Noy is a Pro Bowler, and he's very good in pass coverage. So they do have like some pretty good personnel to use on Kittle. So I think that opens up Deebo Samuel, and they're going to use him in such a variety of ways. Like,
yes,
my only concern is that like he kind of gets some handoffs, some trickery thrown in there, because they love to utilize him in that capacity. But otherwise, I think he's the number 2 option in this offense, and you'll see him used as such.
Yep, totally. But yeah, he probably will get like 3 handoffs for 40 yards, and you'll start sweating a little bit. But all right, what do I got? I have Russell Wilson over 289.5 passing yards. This game is going to be, and because I'm saying this, it's going to go the other way. I think this game is going to be a shootout. It's 2 of the worst passing defenses in the NFL going head to head. The Vikings give up close to 300 passing yards per game as it is, and that's when they're not playing against the number 1 offense in the NFL. Russ is averaging 321 passing yards per game. He has the highest yards per attempt in the NFL. So he doesn't need that many attempts to get to 289. I just think that he's going to – I mean, he could get 2 60-yard passes with the way he drops those dimes into DK and to Tyler Lockett. I'm taking Russ.
Yeah, all the way, slam dunk. I see this being a shootout. I do like the Vikings +7. Like, they're not as bad as they showed to begin the season. They're going to get better as the season goes on. They had 13 draft picks last year with no preseason, limited training schedule. So, yeah, I think they're the second best team in the NFC North, and they're going to get more competent and capable as the season goes on. And that pushes the Seahawks and superstar Russell Wilson to just keep doing superstar things throughout this entire game. And like, come on, Russ in prime time, take the over. That's the only play.
I agree.
Okay, so my last pick, it is from that same game. I'm very confident in this one. Carson under 68.5 rushing yards. he not only is he in a platoon anyway, he's coming off a very serious injury.
Yeah.
They're not going to feature him heavily. And, I don't think he'll get more than 10 carries in this game.
Did you see his statement? Nobody expected him to play last week. And he played, and then he came out and said that he was going to play that game no matter what. People have always said he can't play 16 games, so he's going to prove them wrong. He's going to kill himself this year trying to play 16 games. It's his contract year, so he wants to show that he's a feature back. But yeah, I think they're gonna do a timeshare with him because I don't think he's 100% yet.
Yeah,
and
it's a long season. There's no reason for the Seahawks to ride him in.
Yeah, exactly.
And I do like him continuing the streak. That reminds me when AC Green was going for the NBA's Iron Man streak, and he got 3 of his teeth knocked out, like as he was chasing it. So then he played the next game. He just went out there for 2 minutes at the start and waved his arms around a bit.
Yeah, maybe we'll see Chris Carson do something like that. And then I have one more.
All right, you do one more, and then we're going to name a bet, and then we will be out of there.
All right, in this same game, I'm taking Kirk Cousins over 260.5 passing yards. I think it's going to be a shootout, so I'm taking both quarterbacks over on their passing yards. The Seattle defense is the worst passing defense in the NFL. They give up 400 yards per game in the air. And like we said, the Vikings are going to – you think the Vikings might actually be close in this game? I think they'll have to try to keep up with the Seahawks offense, so they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more. He's only thrown 27 times in a game. That's the highest amount of times Kirk has thrown the ball in a game this season. But Zimmer has come out and said that they need to open up the offense a little bit, so I think they're going to have to throw the ball at least 30 times. And Cousins also has a really good yards per attempt, 8.8 yards per attempt. So it won't take him that many attempts to get there. And the emergence of Justin Jefferson. There's a lot of good things going for the Vikings offense right now.
Can you confirm to me that I picked Justin Jefferson on a podcast for Rookie of the Year on a podcast with you back over the summer?
That sounds right. I know we liked Cam Akers and Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson looks pretty good so far.
Yeah, I've had a few listeners like throwing Justin Jefferson in my face, and I'm like, no, I like this guy. It's documented. I've been praising this guy since like April. Like, yeah. Don't invent. I have enough wrong takes that you can throw in my face. You don't need to fabricate my incorrect takes.
Also, last week, you were right about the Adam Thielen pick, but I went 5-2-1 on the show.
Yeah, you were 5-2-1 is a good record, but I just care about that head-to-head.
Yeah, you're 1-0 head-to-head. That's true.
I hate Adam Thielen. Those gritty receivers who don't have physical skills drive me crazy. Give me the blue chippers, the Joey Galloway types, the dudes who look good in photos but don't quite produce as well as they should. That's what I like.
Yes.
And now for our naming a line of the week, I think Burrow is going to be under some pressure. I think the Ravens pass rush could get a little bit better. So I would like to see from PointsBet USA. Sammy, can you fire out this tweet for me?
I'm on it.
I want to see the line for a Calais Campbell sack of Joe Burrow. He only has 1 sack of the year. And I don't know if you know this, down in Jacksonville, Florida, when they were a good competitive team, I was down there with good friend Jake Head, and the Jaguars fans, they gave me the Mayor of Saxonville sandwich they made for Calais Campbell. So
what was on that sandwich?
Oh, it was ham. It was like a big Cuban sandwich with avocado on it. Fantastic.
Ooh, sounds good.
And I'm hungry. I'm thinking about that sandwich. I'm gonna bet on Calais Campbell to get a sack, and I bet that's like plus 325.
You think they would set it at half a sack?
Yeah, that's over half a sack.
Over half a sack.
Actually, I think it would be more like minus 130 or something like that.
He only has 1 sack on the year, though, so
yeah,
he hasn't been too effective. But he is the sort of guy to like make a statement in a divisional game. So he's such a leader, and like I think Burrow is not really played a great pass rush yet. or a great defense.
Yep.
So you're probably going to see him spend a little bit too much time in the pocket and take a few this week.
I like that. I hope they do that for us. They did the time that they made the kicker one public was like the coolest thing of all time. You were an odds maker for one day.
Yeah, I was an odds maker. That's like having a kid with a birth defect. Sorry.
How about a little context though? Tell us about Name a Bet. How does that
Oh,
work?
I thought you were talking about like birth defect. No, PointsBet, they're a site where we get all of the prop lines from, and they do have a cool name your bet feature. So every week we name them a bet, they put it on the board, and you can bet the line we come up with. And yeah, I like the Calais Campbell bet this one, and like next week I'll have you make the line, Steve. Does that sound fun?
Yeah, I'll come up with something for next week.
Awesome. So thank you for joining the Friday Prop Drop. All of our props today are, of course, from PointsBet Sportsbook, where new players can get 4 risk-free bets up to $1,000 using code BONUSPROPS. That's a strong signing bonus, but PointsBet also has the best weekly promos in the industry. Let's look at this week's deals. You can go there and to their promos page. You can see Allen Iverson's foot, always cool. And you have this, they're doing same game parlays. They are doing $1,000 sign up bonuses, 100% match, and they do have boosters on the NBA Finals Game 5 tonight. Tyler Hero to score 17 points plus 100. LeBron to score 30 plus 120. Anthony Davis to score 25 and the Lakers to win is plus 100. That's a better line than anything I got in my stand-up act. So go to PointsBet. All these boosted props are pretty awesome. There's a good Yankees one tonight. So, and there's college football 100% in-play bet matches. Fantastic. Maybe I'll use that on my college football wagering tomorrow. But yeah, PointsBet's great. And if you're a Props Network listener, use code BONUSPROPS for 4 risk-free bets up to $1,000. And if you don't want to gamble on their site, just go there to see Allen Iverson's foot. You'll need to pay more for that on OnlyFans. And as always, you must be 21 or older to bet online. If you or someone you know have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER today. Not a good job with the disclaimer there, but it was all right. Steve, what's the big hypothesis in your blog this week?
Let me take a peek. I always forget immediately after I make my bets who I bet on. So let me pull up the old document. I know that I really like the Cardinals if they play, which who knows. I went kind of teaser crazy this week. I took, I think, 4 teasers.
It's a great teaser week, actually.
It is a good teaser week. I teased the Panthers up to 8.5, the Jaguars up to 12.5, the Rams down to -1. Who else did I tease? That might be just 3 teasers. But yeah, I'm loving the teasers. There's like this very, I don't know if you follow Sportsbook on Reddit, the subreddit. There's this theory.
I go there from time to time.
There's this theory that if you do a 6-point teaser on underdogs when they are under the key number of 3, tease them up. And when you tease favorites when they are like over the key number of 6 or 7, you'll hit like 75% of the time. It's just getting over those key numbers. So that's what I've kind of been doing. That is just like getting those lines under the key numbers or over the key numbers. And it's been working really well. I'm 4-1 on my teasers so far. So yeah, check out the blog. I got a lot. I got every pick for the whole week, even for games that might not happen.
Yeah, that's about right. So yeah, I'm going to check that out. I might slide into your DMs. I haven't placed my wagers for the weekend. I'm not doing an idiotic college football parlay this week.
Oh, did that hit?
It did hit. But then I took a sweetheart teaser and I lost it on a push.
Ooh.
So I bought the Cardinals to +10. They lost by 10. Everything else hit easily and took the L there.
Dang.
So the balance is damaged. So hopefully I'll bounce back this weekend, even though kind of a difficult week.
Yeah, I didn't love. That's why I had to tease so many games. Is that I was like, I don't know, I don't love it.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the Texans and 49ers money lines.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna bet minus 300 games, those are probably the ones to do. Yeah,
and I do like the big money line play from time to time. Coming off a loss, it's very hard to see the Miami Dolphins crossing the country, dealing with their protocols, and going against a San Francisco 49er team that absolutely needs it.
Yeah. And for my sake, I hope they lose, but I do think they will win. I hope the Rams can just run away with the West now that the other teams are kind of underperforming, other than the Seahawks.
Other than the undefeated Seahawks.
They're so good. It sucks.
They're so good. Rams will be a playoff team, I think. And, maybe I think I'm going to watch the Panthers. Maybe they can get there. I'd be so happy. They wear the same colors as the Lions, so I'll smoke enough weed where I can be confused.
Yeah, they're both cats.
Yeah,
and the South is kind of open right now with the Bucs losing last night, so anything could happen in the South.
Yeah, except for
the Falcons.
Yeah, I stopped myself from doing a problematic joke. Aren't you proud of me, Sam?
I want to hear it though.
Anything can happen in the South, unless you're a black person who wants to vote.
Yeah, true.
Okay, show's over.
Thanks to all our viewers in the South. I'll be visiting there in the next presidency. We're going to have a fun week of NFL football. And yeah, I am looking forward to it. I will catch you next week, Steve. I'm going to read your blog as soon as we get off the air, and I'm going to follow at least 2 of your bets.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, Joel. Thanks for having me. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been fun.
All right. Later, partner. I'll talk to you soon. This has been the Friday Props Drop for the Walk-On, TPN the Walk-On on the Props Network. We are back Monday. We have Brian is gone, unfortunately. We'll be flying solo without him. I miss him already. He has to go stake out. He wants to be the first person to watch a MAC game in person. He's nuts. But yeah.
Action.
And of course, my professional gambler picks will be out today on the Props Network. I filmed them in a sauna this week. They are some hot picks. For the Walk-On, I am Joel Walkowski. For the Props Network, walking off.